The Redmi A3 is the cheapest Xiaomi phone that I could find. £58, which is less than half of the Apple AirPods. In fact, you can't even buy one AirPod. It's also less than an Eddie Murphy signed copy of the Shrek teaser poster. How good is it compared to the cheapest Samsung phone that I tested previously? And what about compared to a flagship? For some reason, there's like rattling in the box. That doesn't sound very good. Redmi A3. This time the packaging is in English. Oh, it's tabs. Yo, look at the camera. This looks like a Xiaomi 14 Ultra. You know what? This feels more premium than the £70 Galaxy A06 that I tried previously. Yo, micro SD card. As I was setting up the phone, it was time for face unlock, and this happened. Wow, okay. It's definitely not the snappiest experience, but I guess it will do. Oh, and the unboxing is the same as last time. A single cable, no charger in the box, a phone that apparently crashed while transferring data. What? I guess I have no choice but to put my SIM card in here and use it for as long as I can. Immediately, I had problems with this phone. Surprise, surprise. When you go to unlock this phone, the vibration is like... Listen to this. Why? And then the fingerprint scanner barely works, and then this screen. What in the world is this mess? And then it decides to use face unlock, which is so slow. And in the end, you get something like this. Okay. But we can fix that. The face unlock and fingerprint scanner has to go. The vibration and haptics have to go. You can't even call this haptics. The wallpaper carousel has to go. The pre-installed apps have to go. Something is missing. Oh wait, there you go. Meet Pebble the penguin. Pebble is cute and he likes oranges. He likes watching anime. He's got a 5000 mAh battery, which nowadays means absolutely nothing. He also likes it cold, like really cold. He's got a 720p IPS 90Hz panel. Hold up, a £50 phone has a 90Hz panel, but an iPhone 16, an $800 phone has 60Hz? Apple, what are you doing? And if you like it fast and rough, Pebble isn't gonna do it for you with the 3 gigs of RAM and the Helio G36. Wait a minute, do you remember Greg, the cheapest Samsung phone, the Galaxy A06? That had a Helio G85 and that thing was slow. But according to these benchmarks, it's still 80% faster than Pebble. What? How much slower does it get? Oh, and just for fun, let's compare it to the Snapdragon 8 Elite. Oh, 1800% faster. Jesus, okay. In fact, in some regions, the Redmi A3 comes with 2 gigs of RAM, which runs on Android 14 Go, which is a light version of Android. But Pebble isn't on Android 14 Go, it's on the full fat version, and he's really chugging, and so is the charging. What do you mean 18%? I put this phone to charge like 15 minutes ago. I'm just realizing how spoiled I am with phones. Usually I just slap it on for 15 minutes and it's enough for the whole day, but this time I gotta be careful and I gotta bring a power bank or another charger now. So I looked up online and this thing has 10 watt charging. What do you mean 10 watts? Are we in 1969? But hey, I guess while this thing is charging, you can go out, enjoy your life. And last time, a lot of you were like, oh, but it's a $70 phone, and what do you expect? I don't know. But not this. Sometimes it has trouble opening the settings, and scrolling Instagram feels like I'm dragging my balls through a mile of broken glass, because every single thing that I do just has so much stutter. And even watching reels seems to be a huge task for this phone. Then, eventually, after 5 minutes of scrolling on the toilet, the pain eased away. The stuttering, I mean. Oh, and once again, no contactless payments. I know, I'm expecting a lot from this phone. So enough of the yapping, let's do some gaming. But before we do, I just found a huge problem. So it all started when I was testing the camera. As expected, it was pretty bad. The standard 1080p 30 FPS with no stabilization. Even when skating on smooth ground, it was shaky as hell. So this is the selfie camera, and as I've noticed, the beginning cuts out. The dynamic range is pretty bad. The audio is pretty bad. But if you're gonna call your grandma, she's not gonna complain too much. So then I was like, well, I can probably fix that with third-party camera apps, but the Blackmagic camera app is not supported. And so is the Motion Cam app. But it wasn't just camera apps, because Geekbench was also not compatible. And then I started panicking, checking every app that I possibly couldn't use, and I noticed that the Rotor One app, the app that I need to log into work, wasn't compatible. But why? Well, I don't know. I made sure the phone was updated to the newest Android version, but without any explanation, it just says the app is not gonna work on my device. Maybe it's the fact that the CPU architecture is from 2012. Maybe it's the 3 gigs of RAM. Maybe it's some Redmi limitation. I even asked ChatGPT to give me a list of possible reasons, and I don't even know what it means. And there's probably a lot of other apps that are broken that I haven't even discovered yet. But is there a silver lining to this thing? Well, you can play this Penguin game, which is Pebble's favorite game actually. But then I tried getting the PS2 emulator and... bruh. So here's some footage of me playing the Scooby-Doo game on my OnePlus 12 on the PS2 emulator. Just pretend that it's Pebble. But the Java emulator works. So at least you can play this Penguin Java game, I guess. Also, I wanted to point out that this camera ring is a huge waste of space. It's got one tiny sensor in the middle, and then this other sensor right here is a 0.08 megapixel aux camera, which is some kind of a depth sensor to help you with portrait mode or whatever. They just wanted it to resemble the flagship 14 Ultra. In conclusion, I couldn't use contactless payment. The camera was bad, but what do you expect for £50? A lot of the apps were incompatible. The 10-watt charging was painfully slow, and probably the only phone that charges slower than an iPhone. So is this phone for anyone? I actually don't think so. Literally any phone, even a refurbished mid-ranger, would obliterate this thing. I wouldn't want to use this as my second phone. I wouldn't buy this for my mum or for a kid or for anyone. Yes, this thing makes phone calls, but so does a brick Nokia phone that you can get for like £20. Pebble is going straight to where it came from.